Okay, good evening, dear student. Please let me know if you can hear me. Okay, good evening to all of you. Today we are going to start our chapter 6, but the PowerPoint slide will be the complementary PowerPoint slide of chapter 5 that we had last week. Today we will have less discussion about calculation or anything quantitative. We'll be more on the concepts and the whole idea of differentiation between economy, management, and all of those in-depth discussions. So, we will start the chapter by this title of Thinking Like an Economist. So, why everything economics is going to be shown by these linear curve or straight lines and things like that will be discussed separately today. So, thinking like economists, every field of a study has its own terminology. For example, when it comes to mathematics, we have these integrals, axioms, vector space. When it comes to psychology, we have ego, ID, cognitive dissonance. When it comes to law, commissionary, estoppel, courts, venues. When it comes to economics, supply, opportunity cost, elasticity, consumer surplus, demand, comparative advantage, and deadweight loss. As you can see, every single field, whether it's related to human science or not, it has its own terminology. Terminology means a specialized word for that specific major that every single day you're going to deal with it. When you're going to think about like an economist, so for sure you're going to use all of these terminologies that they're related to the whole word economy. So let's go further. Unfortunately, there's something wrong with the talking slide. I tried to. Okay, yes. So we were just talking about how the whole terminology is all about, and now we're going to go more in detail and talk about economics trains you to. This is the whole idea of having economics as a major. Think in terms of alternatives. For example, if any situation to decide about what you're going to do, you have to have different alternatives, and economics is going to help you to evaluate different alternatives to come to the conclusion. The evaluation of the cost of individuals and so-called cases. So besides the fact that you have some alternatives, usually your decision making is going to be based on how much cost will be imposed by an individual or individuals or as a general the social or society. So examine and understand how certain events and issues are related. That is different part of economics and how you're going to be trained. You will be actually taught to be able to examine and understand how certain events or any problems and issues they are kind of related, interrelated, and how you change one of them is going to influence the other one or vice versa. So, the economist as a scientist. As you can see, this section is not about lots of calculations or finding out how different linear curves are going to be meaningful and so on. This is more on the conceptual and in-depth discussion on the whole world of economics and how that actually stimulates you as human beings to do different things that you wouldn't do so if you didn't know anything about economics. The economist as a scientist. The economic way of thinking usually involves thinking analytically and objectively. Analytically means you're critically trying to come up with some interpretation from any events that you're dealing with. And there is an objective all the time in your mind, whether you are cost-oriented, income-oriented, and or anything related to economics that can be as an objective there, and force you or guide you to a place that the whole discussion is all about. So makes use of the scientific method. Usually, economics is going to help you to be able to use different scientific methods to be able to reach different, basically, results. So the whole world economics and training of economists is all about this. So that's why we put an economist as a scientist. Okay, these scientific methods can be all of these mathematical and arithmetical discussions that we have. For example, when we say supply or demand, how a customer will buy the product, when the equilibrium happens, when these two actually cross each other, or things like that. So when we talk about scientific, we talk about all of this mathematical based or science based discussions that usually have lots of analytical interpretations right after that. So the scientific method, observation, theory, and more observations. So use abstract models to help explain how a complex real world operates. As you can see, when we say abstract models, we are referring to all of these actually functions or linear curves that you try to actually simulate by drawing all of these actually charts and graphs and so on. Because we do believe the whole world of economy or real world is going to be much more complicated. But by showing them on a chart and trying to give a sense to the reader that how this whole world works, when other factors are actually considered fixed, the whole idea of abstract comes to the picture. So as you can see, these abstracts and things like that, they're all for you to be able to see things from a very simple and much as less sophisticated way, and then you will be able to understand what the whole idea is all about. Okay, so develops theories, collects and analyzes data to evaluate the theory. That is the other part or the other functions of scientific methods. Actually, these scientific methods help you to develop theories, collect and analyze data to be able to evaluate something called theories. So, what would be the role of assumption in the whole idea of economics and so on? So, the role of assumption will be this. Economists make assumptions in order to make the word easier to understand. And that is how I was trying to tell you. When you say the other factors that they're going to be in the whole equation are all fixed, means we are not going to have them involved in our calculation or in our discussion, simply because that makes it much easier for the reader or student to understand how different variables are actually influencing each other. For example, when we say the impact of price on demand function or the impact of price on supply functions, we are not considering anything else that could affect actually the supply or demand function. So we want to simply see the impact of that specific price on that. That is what we call assumptions. As you know, the supply of a certain product can be affected by supply of the supplement or supply of a competitive or substitute. And so, but if when you're talking about the price and the impact of price on supply, we usually consider the rest all fixed or stable. That is the assumption that I'm talking about. So the art in scientific thinking is deciding which assumptions to make. So usually, whenever you want to have any discussion in scientific thinking, you have to find out what would be the right assumption to make, and that is part of the whole equation. Like, for example, when you want to look at the relationship between the price and supply, or the price and demand, or elasticity, for example, or utility. What are the things that, or what are the variables, what are the factors that is better to be considered, for example, fixed, or what are the assumptions that we have to make to be able to have our discussion well done? Economists use different assumptions to answer different questions. That is a very, very general statement. And as I just explained for you, that is just for making it much simpler to understand. In reality, it's impossible to just see the price and the influence of the price on demand. So many other things are simultaneously happening. So if you want to look at the real world, you never get to have just the influence of price on demand. But we can make all of these assumptions of fixing the other things and just solely studying the relationship between price and demand, because the assumption economics allows us to do so. So we have things called economic models. What are those? Economists use models to simplify reality in order to improve our understanding of the world. Again, this is in the same direction of those assumptions and all of those abstract approach to the whole real world. For making it simplified, you're supposed to take some certain models. And these models are helping us to be able to actually simulate the real world and making it much easier to understand and try to do something about it and see the relationship between different factors. So two of the most basic economic models include the circular flow diagram and production possibility frontier. So they are the most two common ones. We are not going to go into very much in detail, but it's just for you to understand how many different models we have and how significant they are. So these two are two most basic economic models, and so definitely you have other ones as well. But our first model, which is circular flow diagram, will be this. The circular flow diagram is a visual model of the economy that shows how dollars flow through market among households and firms. So you can see it's going to show the dispersion of the dollar in the economy, and then how it affects actually the whole economy. Look at here. Now we're going to show you this circular flow. So we have the markets for factors of production, household sell, firms buy. Then we have the second factor, which is market for goods and services, firm sells, household buy, and then we have is household buy and consume goods and services, and own and sell factors and production if they have any. And we have firms produce and sell goods and services, and hire and use factors of production. So this, look at the relationship. As you can see, flow of input. The firms will have this production as their input for market, for firms to sell and household to buy. Then, so goods and services sold. Then we will have goods and services bought by the household. Then we have labor and capital from household as an input for the whole market. And then we will have factors of production, that they are actually the money, and then again things coming from market to the firm. So this is how the whole circular flow is all about. So this circular flow diagram actually shows you how money circulates, and that how that money creates other inputs, and other inputs how they're going to end up in certain product, goods and services. So how market is going to use this product and services to serve households, and again how household create labor and capital for the market, and again, this cycle is going to happen again and again. This is how circular flow is going to work. So, but on the other side, you have the green, actually a row as well, which shows the direction of the money or flow of the dollar. So as you can see, flow of inputs and outputs are shown by the red arrows and directions, while the green arrows shows the money flow. So you can see revenue from market usually goes to the firm, and that causes the market to come up. So that means that this money goes to the household and so on, because people that they are in firm working to take this money, then their wages, rent, and profit that they get, then they're gonna use it for that will be, when it goes to the market, will be income for the household, as you can see, and from household they will spend on again the market, and again you will see revenue will be created, and it will be again repeated by wages, rent, and profit, income, again spending, and this is how the whole circular flow is all about. The whole market works. So our first model, the circular flow diagram, will be like that. Firms produce and sell goods and services, and hire and use factors of production. Factors of production can be raw material that they use, and hire like human resource, like people. They hire them to make the production. And households buy and consume goods and services. This is how the law reads. And they own and sell factors of productions. So, and then next we will have the market for goods and services, which firms sell and households buy, and market for factors of production will be household sell and firm buy. So simply you can see, market for goods and services is when you as a firm sell, and the household means all of the people are coming and buying that. So you see, this is how the whole market works. The market for factors of production is when household, actually people that they are living, they are going to go work for different companies, so they provide for these companies the human resource. And firms are going to buy that because they need this human resource or other raw material or any investment to be able to run the show. So, factors of production will be inputs used to produce goods and services. These inputs usually come from household, land, labor, and capital. Means people invest, people work, and people use their lands and so on to be able to produce. And on the other side, the whole market will work perfect. So as you can see, this is our first model. This is the circular flow diagram. Okay. The next model will be, our second model will be the production possibility frontier. So let's see this and see how it works. The production possibility frontier is a graph that shows the combinations of output that economy can possibly produce given the available factors of production and the available production technology. So let's go more in detail and see what's going on. The production possibility frontier is like this. You see we have two axes. Quantity of computer produced and quantity of car produced. So we are talking about two different items, and how you have like different, actually, so we are talking about both of them, these two different axes. And as you can see here, this is how the whole, we may go maximum 3,000 of, like if you look at this, this is the possibility of purchasing anything. We go maximum production possibility frontier. This is the possibility of production of whether if you just produce computer, you can go maximum 3,000. If you just produce car, you can go maximum 1,000. You can produce in both of them as well, but as you can see, as you go up on this linear curve, on this curve actually, you will see different points, and different points means different amounts of each. At the moment that you are in these two, you're just producing either of the one of these two. So look at here. So for example, if you are somewhere here, you're producing 2,000 of computers, while 700 of cars can be produced as well. So this is the place dot A, and as you can see, dot P is also there, shows to you different possibility of production. But as you can see, if in the same place, which is A on the curve, we go a little bit further toward making computers, we can go 2,200 computers, and definitely will have less number of cars to be produced. Simple reason is your possibility is the same. So if you increase one, the other one will be decreased. That's why when you increase the number of production of computer 200 from 2,000 to 2,200, your cars production will be decreased. So that is showing the possibility of production. We have some places beyond this production, and we have some beyond this production. Within this production, any place you can produce because it's less than your possibility. So you can produce 1,300 simply. You can any other places under here you can. But beyond the possibility, which is this blue line, like D, the production is not gonna happen because you don't have that possibility of production. You see this blue area, sky blue is the place that you can produce simply, while in D, which is beyond this, you won't be able to produce simply because it's beyond your production limit. So our second model, the production possibility frontier, this concept illustrates by the production possibility frontier. The efficiency, trade-offs, opportunity costs, economic growth, all going to be seen and shown by that. Because here, this is the frontier that we're talking about. This is dot A that we're talking about. When you go to the higher level, means you're going to a higher possibility. You see 4,000 and it's still 1,000 of car. You are actually you're in different possibility limits. As you can see, that would be more or less what we call an absolutely economic growth, which is here. When you completely go higher. Opportunity cost means when you buy, for example, use more car, what would be the less number of basically computers or vice versa. Trade-off means how much cars against computers and efficiency, how much you can do, maximum number of production that you can do, what would be that? That would be efficiency without waste. So if you go there again and see what we just discussed, okay, we have a place called E. And this E is going to show you that economic growth that we're talking about. So macroeconomics and macroeconomics, what are these two? There are two main branches of production. Okay, here they have a question. Okay, me see the same. Actually, I didn't get the relationship between these two products. Why one goes up, another comes down. Okay, let me go down. Let's see that. You said 14, all right? So let me go down to 14. Okay. You see, this blue is the possibility of production. Means this is what we can do maximum based on resources and whatever inputs we have. This is what we can do. We can be any place on this blue line. Means if we are here, means we can produce 3,000 of computer, definitely we cannot produce any car. So it will be 0. This is our place here. If we compromise on the number of computers and we come down, you can see we can start producing some cars. So that's why if from A, that we could produce 2,000 computers, 700 cars. We go to C, means we are going to increase the number of computers from 2,000 to 200, but because our resources are the same and we didn't have extra economical growth, that means we have to decrease the number of cars that we were producing from 700 to 600. So is it understandable, Ms. Vidasani? Okay, so welcome. So let's go back to the place that we were. So we were talking about two main actually branch or stream of economics. One is microeconomics, the other one is macroeconomics. You might hear this before if you have your bachelor related to business management or business administration or international business. Most probably you have heard about microeconomics and macroeconomics. So, but what are these two? Macroeconomics focuses on the individual part of the economy. It will tell you the relationship between price, supply, demand, supplementary, substitute, other factors and all, which is the individual part of the economy. Why? How household and firms make decisions and how they interact in a specific market. So you see, this is all about the specific individual. Like for example, what would the impact of household on firm or firm on household and how they interact and how different equations in economy in this stage and level will work. But while macroeconomy looks at the economy as a whole, so it sees a bigger picture. In macroeconomy, economy-wide phenomena, including inflation, unemployment, and economic growth, as you can see. And this specific type of economics will, as you can see, it talks about the bigger pictures, like for example, what would be the inflation, what would be the income level, what would be, for example, tax, what would be GDP, what would be income per capita, what would be GNP, okay, what would be export, import, and all of those factors in a bigger picture. So, the economists as policy advisors, let's look at them from this point of view as well. When economists are trying to explain the world, they are scientists. Means when they're trying to explain the relationship between different sophisticated factors, definitely they are acting as scientists. So when economists are trying to change the world, they are policy advisors. And try to advise, for example, a politician or certain authorities or executives to make certain things done or change some certain things. That is the time that actually economists are actually working as policy advisors. And this positive versus normative analysis. What is this? Positive statements are statements that attempt to describe the world as it is. In this type of a statement, we don't usually try to have, for example, evil advocates and things like that. All descriptive analysis means we see what is happening and we try to explain it. In descriptive analysis, we are not theorizing anything, we just explain whatever is there. In normative statements are statements about how the world should be, so called prescriptive analysis. Okay, when you try to prescribe a certain theory or hypothesis and you believe that is going to help us be able to run the show better than normal. So you see, in descriptive analysis, we try and the attempt is all about describing what is really actually happening. And in normative statement or analysis, we try to find out what is the best way to make the word work, or called prescriptive. So in prescriptive analysis, we try to come up with some analysis, theories, and assumptions or hypotheses that will help us to be able to come up with a better way of doing things. So, positive versus normative analysis. Which one is the right one to do? An increase in minimum wage will cause a decrease in employment among the least skilled. As you can see, that is a positive statement, simply because we're talking about how a change in a basic wage will help or will influence the unemployment rate, and because you're putting more incentive to be able to get the least skilled workers work. Least skilled workers usually get the minimum wage. So that is the reality. That is what is happening. So that is a positive statement. Higher federal budget deficit will cause interest rates to increase. That is also a positive statement. Because again, we're talking about, if I want to explain this a little bit more, because we're talking about, like, for example, if by any chance the federal government has some deficit, means the cost is more than the revenue, so that means we will have definitely cause interest rate, because then it shows that we are going to have inflation. Inflation and interest rates have a significant relationship, and that will definitely cause the interest rate to increase. Okay, so let's go to the next level. The income gains from a higher minimum wage are worth more than any slight reduction in employment. So this is how you change the whole statement, and you change actually the nature of the whole statement. So you see, the income gains from a higher minimum wage is you're going to get a higher minimum wage. That is exactly what we said over there, but in a different way. Worth more than a slight reduction in employment means still you will have a better employment. So that is something we call normative. You see, normative and positive are the same, but the way that they're going to explain is going to be different. So state governments should be allowed to collect from tobacco companies the cost of treating smoking-related illness among the poor. You see, so this kind of a statement, which you are trying to define something to be done, or prescribing something for any special factors in the society, any of the role players, that is a prescriptive thing. So that prescriptive making it normative statement again. So now you can see the difference between positive versus normative analysis, and how they're going to actually help us to define different things in society. So the question here is, why economists disagree? So let's see about what they are disagreeing. They may disagree about the validity of alternative positive theories about how the world works. Usually, different economists may have different opinions about different phenomena. And as far as it's all about the theories that may work or may not work, the chance of they having different opinion or points of view is high. And they may have different values, and also therefore different normative views about the policy should try to accomplish. So as, for example, we have different school of thoughts in economics. For example, we have classics, we have new classics, we have absolute, traditional, modern, and all of these. Because there are different values and they're looking at different perspectives. For example, utilitarianism. When they see, they are looking for getting the maximum out of the same input. That's one of the school of thought. When you are a fan of this type of thinking, so most probably you won't be able to uh, actually understand the new classic point of view, which is completely different, which is looking for more on the relationships. For example, if I want to explain this from different for example, from different example, or by different example, we be like this. For example, in management of any organization, you can have two different value systems. One value system is, for example, it is actually based on financial profit. The other value system is based on the relationship with employees. You see, these both are two different value systems. They may have different organizations in the world. They may have either of these or the combination of both. And the reason why they have different perspectives toward different problems or different issues in the company can be because simply they have different opinion or different value system. The same thing goes to economics as well. Because there are different values, therefore different normative views will happen. And they come up with different suggestions. That's why, for example, as the policy advisor of the president of the country, different economists may come up with different opinions. Okay? So that is how the whole system works. Today, the number of slides are much limited. So I would like to have the student in class to kind of involve in discussion and let me know what they understood about the whole chapter, or they can just come up with some information and understanding from the beginning of the whole semester. So if you don't have any questions by here, then I'm going to ask you what will be your opinion. I just want you to share. There is no right or wrong answer. So please feel free to participate. First of all, let me know if there is any question. Okay. How about the rest? The only correspondence that I received is from Ms. Vida Sani and nobody else. Okay. Ms. Nadia also said no question. How about the rest? Mr. Arif, Mr. Javid, Mr. Mahfouz, Mr. Muhammad, Mr. Muhammad Sahab, and Muhammad Asif. Okay, if you don't have any question now, I'm going to ask you, what did you understand from the beginning? I would like to see different perspectives. So, why not I start with Ms. Vida Sani? Ms. Vida, please let us know what did you understood from the whole thing. I just want to see your point of view toward economics from beginning so far, and what were the actually the basic things that you learned so far. Ms. Vida? Ms. Vida, I could not hear you at all. Can you take care of that problem? Okay, no problem. Okay, yes, without no problem. Uh, Maybe next time we can be ready if there is any question by the microphone. We can share it. No problem. So how about the other student, Mr. Muhammad Sahab? Would you like to talk about what have you learned so far in this course? Mr. Muhammad Sahab? Okay. Let me see if there is anybody in the class who is volunteer, and then if there is no, then I will see. Is there any volunteer? Now this session we have a limited number of slides, so there is an opportunity for us to discuss. So please take advantage of this specific part, and not only let us know what did you understand so far. You can maybe say how basically your approach toward different economical things has been changed. Maybe nowadays, if you listen to any economical news, whether there is any specific change in your understanding or things like that. So I was trying to give Mr. Mohammed Saab the chance to talk, but apparently he's not ready. Mr. Mohammed Saab, are you ready to talk? Anybody, Mr. Mohammed Asif, Zadeh, Mr. Mahmoud. There is no right and wrong answer. It's just a matter of sharing our thoughts. The nature of subject should not make you afraid of talking. You know, I do know that leadership was uh, much easier, or electronic marketing was much easier to discuss or maybe interpret. But still, economics is something interesting. If you want, I don't really want you to discuss detail of our calculation or analytical discussion. It's all about what basically you got from the beginning. If there is anybody in the class, I can see Mr. Rahab saying the same problem. He has difficulty using his microphone. Miss Gida Sami has had the same problem. Is there anybody in the class who has microphone working? So maybe we can. Mr. Javed, how about you? Mr. Javed? Okay. Apparently, nobody in the class is ready to talk, and I'm not going to really insist more than this. But it was a very, very good opportunity for you to let us know what you're thinking. Doesn't matter. That definitely, maybe later on in future, if you have such an opportunity, then we will ask you to discuss. But again, uh, uh, Miss Miss Sami is saying fix it, sir, means like you have fixed it or what, Miss Sami? Would you like me to get? Yeah.
Excuse
Okay.
me, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, yes, Miss Sami. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So sorry for that. Tonight I'm using my PC. This PC my kid's playing with, and I couldn't fix the microphone now. I could fix it. Excuse me for that.
Okay, thank you anyway for finally being able to make it all right. So, would you please
Yeah.
let us know what did you understand from the whole subject of economics since beginning of the
Yes.
semester? Yes.
Yes, sir. Excuse me. Actually, the whole idea, the whole thing that I got from the session is using our resources and actually making the flow from the resources to the market through the household, and also using the resources on a proper way is the main idea of the economy. Then how we can put the market in the flow, and how we can make the money, and then again give back this money to the market and use it. We use so many words, so many definitions here, but the whole idea that I got is this one, that economics is about having this flow between market, resources, and household, and also maybe this flow back, getting the revenue, again bring this revenue into the market, and something like this. How to best use of the resources is the main idea. In details, sorry, maybe I cannot get in details. If you have any special question, maybe I can answer you.
No, that was just nice, Ms. Vida Sami. Thank you so much. It was a very nice summary of what we had today. That was a very good actually interpretation. How about the whole semester? If you want to look at the whole semester and you just refer to your memory, what can you remember about the whole subject? Is there anything special that you can remember from previous chapters that you want to maybe share with the rest of the class?
You mean semester 3, sir? This semester?
No, the same semester, all of subjects, for example, utility, elasticity, the supply and demand, and we were discussing like marginal cost, marginal income, all of those things that we had. General, I don't want really detailed discussions, but I would like to know whether is there anything that you want to share from those, or anything maybe very, very general would be suffice.
Yes, actually, sir, I can remember about the supply and demand, if I remember, and I was so interested in this one. We talk about the influence on demand or influence on supplies, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm right.
No, then, right, yes.
Then you explain us how the demands and supplies actually determine the prices and the quantity of goods, and the sold goods also. Then we talk a bit about the law of demand. Then we talk about the figures of the demand, the figures that the demand curve, yes.
Okay. Miss Vida, okay. I want to ask my question in another way. Is there any change after taking the subject at the beginning in understanding any economical interpretations? For example, when you're watching now with any economical, for example, news, for example, CNBC or Bloomberg or even CNN or BBC, or anything, things like that. Do you think you have any change?
Yes, of course. Okay. Oh, yes. Now I get your idea. Yes. Sorry. Yes, so much. As you know, my field is in the medicine field. I'm in the health field and the management of the hospital. When I came to this MBA classes, actually, I didn't have any idea about the economies, and I didn't have any idea about supply, demand, or something like this. Because, you know, the field of medicine and health services is something very different. The people need you a lot. You cannot actually make money from this market. You should consider very much the moral things in this market and something like this. For this reason, I didn't have the good idea about economy. I'm sure that other colleagues in the class have a very better mind about the economy and something like this than me. But I find actually these courses open my eyes that we can also have a very good market in a health science, in the health and medicine, without harming the people, without making money in bad ways, actually. Now, yes, exactly, extremely. I have a very good idea about economy. I can understand economy very well now. I didn't have any idea about that one before. We just had a very small thing. Yes, we just studied a very small thing about health economy, but that was very limited. Now I have the whole idea about this one in the very vast definition, very vast idea. and thanks to you, really, and thanks to MBA courses. Yes, definitely, I have a very good idea about this one. I can understand it very well.
Thank you so much, Ms. Vida Sami. It was perfectly
Thank you, sir.
comprehensive and interesting. Thanks a lot. In future, if we have any other chances, definitely would like to have you again, having your opinion well expressed.
Of course.
As thank you so much.
It would be my honor. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. Let me see if there is anybody else who is interested. We can have another maybe lady or gentleman in the class to do the same thing like Miss Samini. If that would be much nicer to have at least one more student. If still I'm encouraging you to take part. I almost have actually called all of the names. Still, if there is anybody like Mr. Khalid Baktosh, I didn't call your name. If you are interested or you have a microphone, I would like to see your opinion, how you think economics so far have helped you to understand these issues around you better than before. Or anybody else, Mr. Mohammed Asif, I already called your name. Miss Nadia. Miss Nadia said that she came to the class today completely late. But maybe you can talk about the previous sessions that you were in the class. So, Mr. Mohib, if I don't make a mistake. So, would you like to talk? The last person. Mr. Mohib, would you like to talk? Mr. Mohib. Okay, apparently we don't really have any volunteer. I just wanted to exploit the time that we have in a better way to maybe engage more students. You see, the class will be much nicer if you have time and you are given the chance. Usually for this class, we don't really have this much time. In previous classes that we did have so much time to discuss. In this class, usually the slides are around 40 or 50 or even 60 slides. For example, next chapter, our slide will be at least 60 slides. So we don't really have time to have this type of mutual interaction. So if I were you, I would definitely use this opportunity. I really again thank Ms. Vida Sami for being participative, and I will encourage the rest to do so the same way. Definitely that will affect your participation in the class mark and even my final evaluation about how your presence is in the class, because we don't really want you to have your name there without having any proper participation. At the end, I just would like to one more time remind you for the fact that now this is chapter 6 and actually the session 6. As you know, when you reach chapter 7, because today we have a complementary version of chapter 5, means session 7 will be chapter 6 and session 8 will be chapter 7. When we reach chapter 7 or session 8, as you know, you have to submit your assignment. That is the due date. Please do submit your assignment on time. Then you won't be entitled of any late submission. And so that's the final thing that I wanted to announce. Thank you so much again for being participative and attending this class. If you don't have any other questions, let's call it a day. So, as you can see, there is no other question I can see. Thank you to all of you for uh, listening and accompanying us up to now. Have a great night and see you next week. Bye.